strategy, but of course know a lot about intellectual property law. And so since I know about both, although I'm not an attorney, I can sort of help drive that strategy. I'm also a patent broker, and I'm co-inventor, I should say, on about 100 different patent applications, of which, I don't know, 15 or 20, it varies from day to day, have issued.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Impressive.
That's fantastic. Chris, maybe we'll have you introduce yourself next, because I think Archana has gone off screen.
Okay, I didn't realize we had another patent professional around. Those are impressive numbers you have there, Steve. I'm a patent attorney. I am what they call a patent prosecutor, which means that I file patent applications and respond to the patent office in trying to get patents for our clients. So my background is in computer science, so I mostly deal with software inventions and mostly for companies here in the Bay Area, San Francisco, Silicon Valley. I've been doing this for quite a while, so I mostly supervise other people, but I also like to keep my hand in by writing patent applications and doing responses also myself from time to time. So I've been doing this for 15 years. Seen a lot of the emergence of ML, machine learning patents have become commoditized during the time that I've seen. So that's been fun to see.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that, Chris. Over to you, Archana. Please tell us a little bit about yourself. Oh, you're on mute, Archana. Sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Anand. Myself, clinical nutritionist and wellness expert, Archana Gupta, MSc Foods and Nutrition, 1993, Govind Ballabh Pant University, #1 agriculture university in Asia. And I did my MSc in 1993, then PG D&D from ISC HNI, and certified diabetes educator, IDA expertise in diabetes, PCOD, weight management. As being a nutritionist and the wellness coach, I'm working with the hospital as a 100-bedded hospital, multi-specialty, as a HOD, F&B and dietetics department by profession, and in the field of healthcare industry since 2002. Lifetime member of Nutrition Society,
Wonderful.
IDA, DDF, and Red Cross societies, and registered as an organ donation with the AIMS. And I am also associated with the Art of Living, bird-known NGO organization that we work for the society, for the betterment, and for the nutrition care. And I have also started my own NGO as a Swasthi Sukham Foundation, and working especially for the elders, women, and the girls.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Archana. Well, wonderful to have you on our panel discussion series. Next is Dr. T.T. Narendran, who is a professor of, who's a retired professor from IIT Madras, my alma mater. So I'm very pleased to have him.
Anand will have to put up with some repetition. Okay. I basically graduated mechanical engineering, and then I did my master's and doctoral degrees in industrial engineering. And I was teaching at IIT for about 38 years, during which period MBA program on campus. I had a separate department for management. It's called the Department of Management Studies. And during my tenure, I was associated for quite some time with student counseling. I was with the consultant for about 3 years. I looked after the campus. And throughout my period, I also had an extracurricular activity. I was promoting South Indian classical music on campus by organizing programs, and I had a lot of student volunteers helping me. After 2015, it was post-retirement, it's the hobby music which actually keeping me going. I teach students online. Actually, the pandemic threw up an opportunity. It made it clear that your student can be anywhere in the world and you can teach.
Right.
That isn't the problem.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for that introduction.
That is happening. One other activity is that I also happen to be the chairperson of a rural school, which is about 120 kilometers away from the city. And that association still continues. In fact, they've invited me next week for the Teachers' Day celebration, which is of course shifted by a day because the Teachers' Day falls on a Sunday. So basically, yeah, I'm associated with school. I'm teaching music online, and otherwise, of course, thanks to pandemic, I hardly get to go.
So you can teach a lot. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So thank you very much for that introduction, Professor. Second gear and talk to the panelists in more detail. So Steve, it's over to you first. So Steve, tell us about your question on Quora. You said, the question was, what seemingly strange question will reveal a lot about a person? And your answer was, if you could have any ability or set of abilities that you don't have, but wish you could have, but not superpowers, right? Not superpowers, but any ability you could have, but wish you could have, what would you want? If you ask this question of a person, it'll reveal a lot about them, right? So what is that ability that you would like to have? And according to Quora, it is music. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, like why you would like to have more ability in music or super ability in music.
So I'm very comfortable with the things that I normally do, but I've always been passionate about music, ranging from I like virtuosic classic music.
Oh, sorry, you went mute. Reason.
To pop over that. So if you look at the range of classical music, whether it be Beethoven, Rachmaninoff, Stravinsky, Liszt, Aaron Copland, etc., there's a lot of complexity in that. I also love jazz, from big band music to Dave Brubeck, and then fusion, including many which were influenced, in fact, by various types of Indian and Carnatic music. So, for example, Mahavishnu Orchestra, John McLaughlin spent a lot of time, the guitarist spent a lot of time in India. And of course, after Mahavishnu, his next band was called Shakti. So you see the influence there. Steve Smith, the drummer, who has a band called Vital Information, also has spent a lot of time in India and has played a lot with people like Single Giant, and I could list hundreds and hundreds of others. And today, the Armenian genius Tigran Hamayasyan, for example, and the Israeli bassist Avishai Cohen. There's also a trumpeter of that. So I love all that sorts of music. And I do play the drums, but I'm terrible at it. I happen to be fortunate enough to be friends with some professional musicians who play in that realm. And I can appreciate and I enjoy it immensely, and I really focus on this thing. I were to practice for 20 years, could simply never reach the level necessary to play the kinds of music that I like, because it's at such a high level. And I can relate to that in some ways. I've taught English grammar, for example, and been a lover of words and a lover of the language. Writing and things like that come very, very easily to me. And I can appreciate great writers, but I can also see this is something I can do in a way to express myself. In music, on the other hand, I can recognize that I don't have those levels of ability. So, it would be wonderful to be able to actually play those, but I have to satisfy myself with vicarious pleasures.
We are kindred souls in some ways, because I'm also into writing. I'm also into intellectual property law, also into business stuff. But this answer, I think, was really a fantastic one, and I think a lot of people, underestimate what you can glean from people by just asking, what. My favorite question is even mirror, because if they, depending on how they answer, you can glean a lot about their belief systems, etc. That's one thing. And the other thing is, the beauty of this question is, you always want to ask a question of someone which is still somewhat personal, right? And also something, so what color chocolate do you like, and or rather, do you like white chocolate, black chocolate? And that's not going to tell you a whole lot, right? But you want it to be somewhat personal, but also something that they can talk, and kind of use that as a starting point. So that's great. So tell me more about your work, the work that you do currently.
And now is not very different from the work I've done for 15 years. I have many clients whom I've never met or I've met twice, because the nature of my work, and you have to take away Zoom, of course, but the nature of my work is such that it can almost all be done remotely. And it's about establishing a relationship bring upon themselves far too much anxiety because they insist on staying with clients really aligned with them. This isn't necessarily a bad reflection on the client per se, but you're always going to have, whether you're looking for a romantic partner or business partner relationship, sometimes there's going to be chemistry and sometimes there isn't. And it's very important, I think, to identify what is important to you when you're working so you can be happy and what you do. This means that sometimes you'll run into a client where you don't mesh. And sometimes the work is not going to be interesting and you just don't want to do it because it just doesn't align with what you're passionate about. And if that's the case, again, you could take the work, but if you do that work, you're not going to be happy. So I have found that it's better to be, for me, two important criteria are, number one, interesting, that I can learn something from doing it. That's number one. And that's why I tend to work in areas like artificial intelligence and machine learning, data privacy, drug discovery, things of that nature, because those areas are all quite interesting to me. And the second one is that the client be someone who is and very intelligent. Now, they may not understand the areas that you're helping them in fully, but to follow what and some people attribute it to Confucius, some people attribute it to, but the saying is, the wise man does not know more than what he does. And so I'm looking for clients who are seeking to be helped, and not an expert, but at the same time they have significant contributions to make in their field, and they're a joy to work with. And I find that if you use each criterion very carefully about intellectual and clients who are wonderful to work with, they have integrity, honor, intelligence, etc., then you can have a great practice for whatever it is you do. But once you fall off of that, you end up getting involved in things that you don't like, or you end up getting involved with clients who may actually be toxic or whose scope of work expands faster than, that's bad, right? You don't want that to happen. So I think especially when people tend to be locked up or confined, it becomes even more important to take care of yourself by focusing on things that give you joy and that you have passion for. Out, then whatever's going on in the world is going to affect you even more, right? And that's why so many people are unhappy and they're getting angry and things like that, because they're not happy in what they're doing. And when you do have to do, you should be really selective about those things you choose to work on. And when you do that, you can have a great time. So that's sort of, I don't know if that answers your question really, but that's sort of the philosophy tried to use, especially
that's a great answer. And actually, that is more or less my philosophy also. And what I love about what I'm doing, right, is interviewing a lot of various people, including, all the panelists here today. And, there's nothing more interesting than, talking to people about an area in which they're deeply knowledgeable about and deeply usually, the historian who specializes in Indian royalty earlier. It's just fascinating to talk to people from a variety, and then we had a person who built the first indigenous train It was built in India, so he knows a lot about trains, and so on and so forth. So it's a very broad spectrum of people, and I encourage people to take this advice from, or this worldview from advice or worldview, call it what you want, from Steve, seriously, because that is really the way to professional happiness. And and if you're doing something you really hate doing, still bad.
So that's kind of a complicated question, because the who are going to Las Vegas right now, it's quite busy. The Strip is incredibly busy, and there are two reasons for that. One is people are tired of being so cooped up, and especially people who are more extroverted and introverted. They can't wait to get out and do something and do anything. I was in San Diego and driving through Balboa Park, and it looked like it had been overrun by an invading army. There were so many people, you could barely move. And that's because people can't stand being cooped up. It's not the natural human condition. People want to associate with others, even if they're introverts, with somebody. So there's this rush to get out and do something and do anything, right? That's number one. The second thing is that what you're seeing on the Strip is a little different because travel is still limited, especially international travel. So the casinos in a way have to adapt to that, because the whales that might normally come over internationally, we're going to spend $1 million a night. Not all of them are even able to travel, right? So you've got I would say they've had to sort of focus on a demographic that is perhaps not as upper tier as before. VIP host or anything, and I don't really know much about that, except that 90% of what they do is illegal. But I imagine that the role of a VIP host has changed somewhat too, just because of all the restrictions on travel. So Las Vegas is actually doing quite well now, but you can also see when you drive, for example, that people are edgy. People are acting in angry ways. They're jutting into traffic. They're running you off the road. Unfortunately, crime and some carjackings in some areas have risen too. So there's a lot of frustration on the part of a lot of people. There are a lot of small businesses that have been very, very hurt by the restrictions. The larger companies are able to survive that. The smaller companies are very understand the frustrations they have when they're not able to serve their customers. New restrictions are reimposed, and now they have to re-implement all the things that were done implementing. It's a very, very difficult situation and deserves a lot of our sympathy, and for those who've been in that situation, I think empathy. So there are a lot of, I would say, multifarious factors that are that are acting on this, and the future of Las Vegas will be determined, and probably of a lot of other cities. The restrictions don't take into account, bureaucrats don't take into sitting here and saying that we're happy with our practices and we're fine with our families and we're enjoying what we're doing. But it's really important to realize that a lot of people out there are really suffering. Some are suffering financially. Some are suffering emotionally. People can't even get clues from other people as to what they're saying because, of course, they all have masks on. You can't read what other people are doing. And we're from an evolutionary perspective, we've learned to get clues from other people, not only their facial expressions. Okay, it becomes much easier to get angry at somebody, because if I'm making a joke and I'm talking like this, if I'm angry at you, can you tell if I'm angry now?
Not really.
If I'm smiling at you, can you tell that I'm smiling?
No idea.
Maybe if you're no idea, right? And so it's really hard because I might be saying something to you and smiling, and you would take that really positively. But when you can't see me, when I'm like this, what do? You might think that I'm angry at you. You might think that I'm indifferent to you. And if you multiply that out, it's sort of a combinatorial problem. Everyone is interacting with everyone else. You can see why that results in a lot of mental health issues. And so you do have suicides are up, and this is everywhere. Drug addiction is up, alcoholism is up. So people who have problems with addiction to begin with, those become exacerbated by this, and that isn't writ large, really are not very cognizant of that. They focus only on what you can see rather than the effects that you do not see directly. Henry Hazlitt wrote about that in Economics in One Lesson, the famous book, that when the old broken windows theory, when the window is broken, you of course see the effects that somebody comes to repair it, right? The same can just aren't thinking about that, and I'm sure that is it Dr. Gupta or
I believe so. Yeah.
Yes, if it is Dr. Gupta, also from just from a health perspective, people eat in as healthy a way as possible. They don't necessarily exercise, and so there are other factors that are also diminishing their health. And I think unless you look at the entire society as a whole, and unless something is ultimately done to address that or we move past that, I think those problems will get, unfortunately, worse rather than better.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Steve. And on that note, let's switch over to Archana Gupta, Dr. Archana Gupta. So Archana Gupta is a wellness expert. So Archana, tell us a little bit about yourself, and maybe after that we can
Yeah,
some
actually,
of
like,
these points that Steve brought up.
yes, yes. Yeah, really well said, Steve. As you are saying, like during this COVID era, we have all faced so many different type of problems just because of the health issues, right? Very truly said. And being a nutritionist, yes, I consider all the people just to take care of their nutrition. And by the COVID, everybody must has gone through like what is nutrition, what has to be taken, what has not to be taken, and whatever is available nearby your vicinity at your place and different areas. Like in your US, you are getting something different as we are getting in India. But whatever we are getting, that is really very healthy, and that has to be taken. We don't need to take to copy each and everyone, like whatever other person is taking and what we are taking. That thing is good for the North India is totally different as per the South India. Same way, the Asian countries and the Northeast Asia as well as the USA and all abroad, around the world. So we have taken care during this COVID era, like what type of diet people can take and take care of their problems facing during this time. As I'm working with the hospitals, I have seen so many of patients, even I have suffered twice COVID in April 2020 as well as in 2021, because we were working with the patients, and we have faced so many like fear and anxiety during that time, like what to do and what not to do. If a doctor is saying like you eat each and everything, people are just behind the food. They are even taking 12 to 16 eggs in a day, but they are not, they are just fear about the COVID at that time, but they are not thinking about the future after effect of the food or future after effect of the any type of different type of medicines we are taking during the management of the this disease. So this is the time we have learned so many things, like we have to take a calm and peaceful mind, because how our brain works, how our mind works, it affects our body. If we are calm at our mind and peace, and so that all the hormones are in stabilized form, right? So when we are, our hormones are okay, then we can take care of our body. So I have tried to connect with as many as people through the online as well through the offline, to the patients as well as the all population RWAs throughout the India, like how you can tackle with the diet, how you can take care of your exercises, your yoga, and even the meditation. Because as you have said also, like brain was totally in a different
Okay,
like
okay,
era.
right.
They are not able to, we are not able to understand how to cope up with the situation. So this is a time when we can keep our body and our mind in a balance. So meditation took a really very good actually role during this time. And we have guided so many people through the art of living throughout the world, like meditate and the breathing technique even. Right. So how to take a breath.
Right. So the art of living.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So as you were saying, basically to summarize, I guess you're pointing out the connection between the mind and the body, and how that is an important thing to keep in mind, because when you get stressed, the sort of hormones that are released, serotonin, for instance, can have kind of long-term effects in the body if you have long-term stress. Very interesting.
Yes. Because whenever see any problem in a positive.
You've also worked with the Art of Living Foundation.
Sorry? And can you please?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We're having a little bit of video bandwidth issues. Go ahead. No, yeah. So I was going to say, very interesting, very interesting. And so and then you were telling us about the Art of Living stuff. So you're going through the training program for.
Yes. I am attached with the Art of Living since 4 or 5 years rather, and presently I have completed my voluntary teacher training program as well. And very soon I'm going to join the Bangalore Ashram for the final teacher training program with the hope, with a positive note, like I will try and I will reach to as many as people. And as you were saying, like during this time, yes, business has been affected in a wider range, short term as well as the long term businesses. But what about the daily paid worker? What about the rickshaw pullers? What about the lower income group? They are also too much affected. And that's why during this last 2 years, I have tried to taking care of these people, like the slum areas and the low income group people. And we have started our one group as well, and we are teaching them to do some work and earn some money through the things. Like we have tried to inculcate the habits of the good food and the bad food, how to prepare good quality food, and how to prepare some good quality of snacks so that they can prepare and distribute to the people. And we are trying to manage these type of thing with the small vendors, because they are really in the shape, like they are also human being, and they are the most sufferer. Like good businessman, big businessman can suffer, can manage their things later on. Small industrialist can also manage their things later on. But what about those people? They are not able to even get a single day food. So we have tried to reach to those people even during this COVID eras, and we have tried to manage the things through the online session for the like college group girls. We have motivated college girls, students, even the students of the schools, because they all are at home during this time, and they can connect more and more people how to take care of themselves through the nutrition, through the diet, proper hydration, and the lifestyle modification. Because this is the need of the hour. Like lifestyle modification is much more in requirement with the physical activity modifications. We need to do regular exercises, our circadian rhythm, our daily routine process, how to get up, how to keep bay with the stress, how to manage your thing, and whatever you like. As Steve also said, whatever our soul like, whatever we like, we need to do it so that we can feel like a good happy hormone can be released, and we feel we can activate our happy hormone so that our immunity system can be strong and our health can be improved in that way, along with the nutritional supplements, nutritional diet, proper diet, we can say, right?
A nutritious diet, right. So from what I'm gathering from you, from your point, from your perch as a diet and wellness expert, the COVID is probably of health, start eating more nutritious food, and also take care of our mental well-being, which of course has a direct impact on our physical well-being.
Yeah, not only the physical,
Wow.
the physical, mental, psychological,
Very
whole
interesting.
well-being.
So-
As a human being, rather, we can say, and as a social.
All of them, right.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So in terms of your business, how has it been?
If I will say about my business, like I
Have
have
you seen an uptick in business, or has it?
through this time, actually, if I will say about
You're
myself,
okay. You can
yeah,
hear me.
as a nutritionist and wellness expert, yes, the requirement and the need of the hour, I have been connected. Earlier, I was connected with only the nearby vicinity. Like I'm living in Delhi. The Delhi NCR people were there, and a few people online, all throughout the India. Okay, but through this time, like last year, if I will say, nutritional expert, like we can say qualified nutritional expert are in requirement, are in need. So we have been connected throughout the world, because the online is a really good portal. We can say the Zoom or the Google Meet or the WebEx Meet. So many portals are there. We can connect throughout the world to all type of people, all type of religions, and we have connected a lot. And I have started diabetes educator course program. I have started nutritional expert training programs during this time, and we are trying to teach as many as people during this time. We have attached with some of the organizations and the institutions, and I'm trying my level best to teach, educate as many as people, so that they can spread the awareness about the nutrition, health, so that they can become a small entrepreneur as well, and they can start their own business rather. So yes, as a nutrition aspect, yes, I have grown up a lot, and I have tried.
Got it. Got it. Very interesting.
Yeah. Yes, Stephen, I want to share something. Yes.
Got it. Got it. Okay. We have a slightly spotty connection, but I can hear you fine. Please continue. Please continue.
Yeah, and Stephen is raising hand. You want to share something, Stephen? You want to say something, I think.
I actually want to ask you a question. Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you a question in your practice. Given that you're from India, I'm wondering how you combine, especially in the realm of COVID. That might not be so true in the United States, where you have some alternative medicine practitioners, for example, that isn't that valid. But you know, Ayurvedic medicine has a tradition for many thousands of years. So I'm just curious how you integrate that with allopathic practices in what you do.
Yeah. Yes, Stephen, you're very well said, actually. If I will say, during the COVID era, here the medicine practice is to really hamper the health of the patient as well. Like they are having the high cholesterol level, sugar level has been increased, liver problems has been increased, so many things has been increased during this time. But yes, as Ayurveda, in our Indian culture, like we used to add on like the turmeric powder. We used to add on the so many masalas, like we can say the black pepper, chilies, okay, like, and other thing like dalchini, or we can say the cinnamon powders. These type of ginger powder even. These are so beneficial things. Aloe vera, giloy, and tulsi, basil leaves, so many things we have utilized during this time, and these has been utilized by throughout the not only India, even the worldwide people are using as an alternative medicine along with the allopathic medicine. So we are taking care of our body, yes, in a proper amount. But here the people know about the Ayurveda, about the natural therapies, so they are using in a proper amount. If someone is not using in a proper amount, then their liver may get damaged, their pH balance may get damaged. So this is the thing, like how to use, what to use, and when to use. The proper combination of the like ingredients we are having in our kitchen itself. Like we can say, like we are having the local medicine lab in our kitchens, in the Indian kitchens, we can say. And during this time, everybody is knowing about our Indian naturopathy and Ayurveda culture. And they have even utilized the things, and they are really taken care of their body and their health, and they are improving, yes.
Fascinating, fascinating. Yeah. And you know, with that, I'll like to switch over to Chris, but you know, as Archana is pointing out, you know, things like turmeric, cumin seeds, mustard seeds, etc. They all have various therapeutic properties which are very helpful in maintaining good health, and that is available in Indian kitchens, typically in the very spice jars, and so that is a good route to wellness and health. So thank you for sharing that with us, Archana. Next up, I'm sorry, I'd love to talk to you more, but it's just the press.
Time foundation is sure.
Yeah, I have to. So next up is Chris King, who is here from the Bay Area. Chris is an intellectual property attorney, and he's actually a native Bay Area, which is very rare in the Bay Area. I've hardly ever met anyone who was born in the Bay Area. So welcome, Chris. So tell us a little bit about yourself and.
Well, okay. I'm hearing audio feedback, but I'll try to not pay attention to that. But yes, as you noted, I was born in the Bay Area. I really loved computer science, so I think it was just lucky that I happened to be born there. I'm also sort of family oriented, so I would have been sad to leave my roots if I'd had to, move from Montana to California. So, as I say, happy to be just by happenstance born here in such a good technology area. I am very interested to hear Stephen's comments about, or to have heard Stephen's comments about writing and desiring to be able to be better with music. I don't have nearly the musical knowledge that you have, but I feel like I'm sad to have neglected my musical education, and I also grew up reading and like to write, so excited to hear your comments there. Let's see, what else can I say about myself?
Well, I do have that question from Steve. So,